Oh, yep. There's been an update in the Tory Lanez case now. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, Tory Lanez was attacked in prison. And while everybody was celebrating the fact that he got attacked, guess what? More information just came out in which I ain't gonna sit here and bullshit. If if what they say is true, and it was it was the fact that Tory Lanez wasn't the one who shot the gun, then the shit is really gonna hit the fan here. And I'm gonna keep my eye out on this situation right here. But shout out to Anton Daniels. I'll leave the link to the full video in the description box. You could go check him out. But let's hear what's being said, shall we?
Good morning. We are here today to bring to your attention some information Unite the People believes is exculpatory in Mr. Daystar Peterson's case, professionally known as Tory Lanez. Recently, we've been made aware that a member of the media, Mr. Gianno Caldwell, was working on an op-ed for the New York Post regarding Mr. Peterson's innocence. During his work on that op-ed, he became aware of some information in Unite the People's possession regarding a statement that was given to Unite the People by someone with information relevant to that case. The New York Post recently reached out to the prior district attorney, George Gascon, Megan Pete and her representatives, and Kelsey Harris and her representatives. The only party that responded last week was Megan Pete's representatives with a request for more information. A few days later, Mr. Peterson's brutally attacked in his jail cell. Unite the People represents Daystar Peterson in his appellate process. We filed an appellate brief and a writ of habeas corpus on his behalf.
We're not going to skip over that, bro. We're not just going to skip over the whole idea that when they reached out to let them know that they had new evidence or they had the truth behind what was going on, and I'm sure that he's going to reveal what the truth is. I literally just stepped off the plane and seen this while I was on the plane. I couldn't wait to get to my hotel room so that I could have this conversation. That literally, right after that, he got attacked by a dude that is serving life in prison on a prison yard right after, the day after they reached out to Megan Pete, who was Meg Thee Stallion's team. All of a sudden, for whatever reason, Tory Lanez ends up in the hospital when they tried to take his life.
In which that is so convenient. How convenient. The moment they talking about this situation, he gets attacked. In which one has to ask this question: was this a planned attack? Was this a planned attack? Because it seems like they don't want Tory Lanez out. They want Tory Lanez to die in prison. And that question and many more questions I have that needs to be answered. And something do tell me that was a hit. It's like they trying to take him out before this ever goes back to court. So of course, suspicions are definitely raised in this situation. Let's continue.
We stood on business since day one. And all of these women said that Tory Lanez was guilty and that he needed to go to jail and believe all women. And I shot credibility in that from day one when she appeared on Gail King's show, when she said that they never slept together. And in the documentary, she then revealed that they did sleep together, which Obviously, we seen all of the details of the case, and nobody could prove that he actually shot her, but everybody was keeping quiet because they wanted to protect themselves and they didn't want to go to jail themselves and be
Facts. Facts. And if she lied about sleeping with him, what else is Megan Thee Stallion lying about? What else is she withholding? And we all saw that Gayle King interview. Things are not adding up in this situation. Let's continue.
be charged with the whole situation. But she is the one that said that he shot her. Now you see hits coming out in prison and they trying to take this man's life. And from day one, I said, I don't believe it. I think that she's lying. This woman need to be prosecuted and sent to prison. And everybody involved with it that tried to, man, I think that this stinks up to the highest of highs, and I can't wait to talk about it on After Hours.
And all I can say is this: they better pray. They better pray. They better pray. Tory Lanez make survive this shit, because if he dies, and it turns out that it was Kelsey who pulled the trigger, the shit is going to hit the fan. Innocent man dies in prison. This is not going to be a good look. Good look on their behalf. Let's continue.
This is crazy. This is insane. Let me get the rest of this, and then we're going to come back and we're going to react to it.
The district attorney's office has already responded. The case is fully briefed. We're just waiting for the appellate court's decision. We were willing to wait for the appellate process to play out. But given that brutal, unprovoked attack, we felt it necessary to come here today to provide you with this information. It is our intention to make a request to the governor to either pardon or commute the sentence of Mr. Peterson, so that when he recovers from this attack, he's not returned to a jail cell, but that he's allowed to go home and recover.
And seek restitution.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working.
Shout out to Unite the People, by the way.
Working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do.
10 years, y'all.
Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side.
This also explains why Kelsey pleaded the 5th. And why else would she plead the 5th? To try to get her ass out of the situation that she's in. And yes, I do agree with the vast majority. If she's pleading the 5th on everything, what is she hiding? But I'm just throwing that out there. Let's continue.
Passenger side is where Miss Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case.
Never should have been in prison.
For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson, even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why?
Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that clearly. Out of Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez, and Kelsey, only Tory Lanez DNA was tested. How come he was the only one whose DNA was tested? You see, this is the reason why Uncle JD questions everything and not just take things off face value. But let's continue.
Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense? We don't know. It should have been taken. It is Unite the People's understanding, regular LAPD practice at a crime scene like that. Anybody who's there, DNA is taken.
And this is why Tory Lanez took it to trial, because he said, listen, I am going to defend myself and I'm not going to plead guilty and take a plea deal for something that I didn't do, which is another reason why men are under attack on a regular basis.
Another irregularity. Why, at Miss Harris's police interview, was a non-lawyer, non-family member, record company executive allowed to participate?
That's crazy.
What the fuck? So what they're saying is someone from a record label was also in on this. Non-family, not a lawyer, but someone from a record label. I wonder who. I ain't saying no names, but I wonder who. Let's continue.
Highly irregular situation. Normally, we see cases, strangers are not allowed in these things, but it was in this case. All of these things point to the highly irregular nature of his trial and his conviction.
Facts.
It is our contention that he was wrongly convicted.
I agree.
And while we at first were willing to let the process play out, it is our contention now that if he is not pardoned or released promptly, he may never come out. And that would be the ultimate injustice, is that he gets killed in prison for something he did not do. At this time, I'd like to bring up Mr. Gianno Caldwell, a media member who was working on that.
And I have to say, it's fucked up. It's fucked up that Tory Lanez had to be attacked in prison just for this shit, in order for this shit to come out. And while all them hoes is out there celebrating this shit, and keep this in mind, the person who attacked him is non-black. But yeah, you got these retarded fucks out here cheering and hand clapping over that shit. But as I said, those same ones cheering and hand clapping now better pray that he survives this shit, because if he fucking dies, and come to find out that it was Kelsey who pulled that trigger, ain't no coming back from this. This is gonna damage them more than anything. Let's continue.
That op-ed for the New York Post. Thank you.
We're going to cover the rest of this on the Millionaire Morning Show. It's going to be the top story that we cover. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications from day one. And I had these debates on these panels. They tried to say that I was a misogynist. They tried to say, no. From day one,
fuck them bitches. As far as I see, they're nothing more than either haters, Megan Thee Stallion super fans, or just straight up retarded fucks who think they were there when all that shit happened. And once again, this is the reason. This is the reason why I look at the court of public opinion that's being full of shit. They always pretend like they were there when the shit happens, and even they don't know what the fuck they talking about. But I'm gonna stop it right here. And once again, shout out to Anton Daniels. If y'all want to watch his video in its full entirety, I'll leave the link to his full video in the description box. Go check it out. Tell him JD Miles sent you. But before I jump off, I'm gonna say this. You see, situations like this right here. It's a reason why. It's a reason why we're gonna continue on fighting here. And it doesn't matter what the haters, the retarded fucks, the forever victims, or any of these clowns have to say. This is what we do this shit for. Off the gate. And to be honest, I hope he is innocent. Not to turn around and try to rub it in people's faces and shit, but the fact of the matter is this. What's the word? This is just too convenient. Tory Lanez gets attacked in prison, while at the same time, new evidence pops up. God damn it, you can't make this shit up. But nevertheless, I said what I had to say. I'm done and I'm out this bitch. Later.